Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lottie and today I am doing a really big book haul. I had a lot of iced coffee this morning, so now I'm drinking water and I'm a little bit hyperactive, so I feel like this is going to be a little bit chaotic, possibly a bit rushed. We'll see. Basically, this is just a book haul of a bunch of the books that I've bought this year so far that I haven't already talked about in a video. Last year I did quarterly hauls, I think, or like every 4 months. I don't know. Last year I bought so many books that it kind of got difficult to keep a track of everything. This year I want to do more small hauls, but the way I've been acquiring books has been quite sporadic, so I'll get like a couple at a time and it's like not really worth it to do a haul for like 2 books or something. So I figured I'll just talk to you about a bunch of the books that I've acquired so far, just so you can see how my library has grown and my collection has grown. So some of these books you might have heard me talk about already because I've already read them. Let's just get on with the haul and stop rambling. I have so many books to talk about, so yeah. To get them out of the way so I don't forget about them more than anything, I'm going to start with talking about my Kindle and audiobooks that I have recently acquired. The first one I'm going to talk about is an e-arc that I received direct from the author, and it is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. It has already come out. I wanted to try and read it before it was released, but I just didn't have time, so I'm probably going to end up purchasing a physical copy of this because I'm really interested in it. I've heard so many good things about it. Basically, this is a cozy fantasy about a orc, I think, who runs a coffee shop in like a high fantasy D&D type world. As you guys know, I love fantasy. I have been a little bit tired of it lately with like the high stakes, like epic adventure quest stories I've been reading, but I still want that like magic world. So I feel like this is the kind of book that I've been yearning for because it has that magical world, but it's that cozy, low stakes like environment. I've heard great things about it. I really can't wait to read it again. I'll probably end up purchasing a physical copy of it by the time I do get around to reading it. But thank you so much to Travis for sending me a copy of the e-arc. I'm really grateful for it. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to get to it just yet, but I promise I will eventually. Next few books I'm going to talk about are all books that I bought on 99p or £1 Kindle deals. I try and keep an eye out for Kindle deals as much as I can because it's a great way for me to get cheap like romance books, especially without having to pay for Kindle Unlimited, because I feel like if I subscribe to Kindle Unlimited I won't read the books. Like I won't make use of it, like I won't read as much from it as I like want to and then like get my money's worth. So the first one is The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. This is everywhere right now. I still don't really know what it's about other than it's a romance. It kind of gives me the same vibes as like the Kiss Quotient series because, or at least the first book, because of like the title I guess, but other than that I don't think they're similar in any way. I think this is also based, like originally was a Star Wars fanfic, so when I found that out I'm a little bit apprehensive because I'm not a Star Wars fan. I think I'm going to enjoy this because I've heard so many great things about it, but yeah, I don't actually know what it's about other than that it's a romance. So yeah, but it's literally everywhere right now. I'm probably the last person on the planet to have not read it. So next is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, which is the 3rd book in the Kiss Quotient series, my absolute all-time favourite romance series. I am currently reading it as we speak, so yeah, I really love this one. I don't know why I've waited so long to read it, but I got it on a 99p deal. I think it's because I really want to get the books physically. When this came out, the author, she was selling signed copies from her website, but she didn't ship to the UK, so I couldn't get them, and I think after that it just put me like in a bad mood because it's like I could have had signed copies but she didn't ship here, so I'm really sad about it. Never mind, maybe one day, but I'm definitely going to buy all these books physically at some point anyway because it's my favourite romance series, so yeah, there's that. But yeah, this is the 3rd book in the series. It's a romance. There is always one of the love interests is always on the autism spectrum in these books. I just love this series so much. It's also got great Asian rep. The author, she's Vietnamese, so there's usually always like a Vietnamese character as well, but I love it. I just love it. So next is Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is another romance that I don't know anything about. I think the 2 love interests are like in opposing publishing companies or something like that. That's as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't really know anything about this one other than it's a romance. And next are 2 books that are part of the same series. So the first one is Read Between the Lines and the second one is No Rings Attached by Rachel Lacey. I've not heard of these books before I saw them on the deals, and also I hadn't heard of the author, but these I think are sapphic romances, so I'm super interested to read these. But yeah, I don't know anything about them other than it's a female-female relationship. Next is a book that I paid for full price, even though it's ebook, and it is Where the Drowned Girls Go by Sean and Maguire. This is the 7th book, I think, in the Every Heart Adore series. I have them all on my Kindle, even though I'd love to own them physically, but I just don't want to spend full price for a book so short, so I spend full price on a digital book instead. Anyway, so yeah, this is the 7th book in the Every Heart Adore series, which follows a bunch of kids going to portal worlds. That is like their dream world. I thought someone was climbing up my window then and it was a tree. That's like their dream world. It's like made for them and they like fit in perfectly there, and like there's all sorts of things that go on, and yeah. So every other book tends to either be like a backstory book or like a continuation of an overarching plot, and this is one of the books that continues an overarching plot. We are following Cora in particular, whose character introduced around book 3, I believe. Yeah, we're following Cora primarily in this one. I really enjoyed it, so that's another book I acquired this year. Okay, and so the last of my digital books that I have recently acquired, I have 2 audiobooks that I have used my Audible credits on, and I really need to cancel my Audible subscription because at this point I'm not really using it. I'm just sort of using the credits because I've paid for them. But anyway, so these are Nevermore and Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend, and I literally have only used my credits on them because I've heard good things about the audiobooks. It is a series I'm interested in reading, but I just was kind of like, I have credits, what should I spend them on? And I've heard that these are good audiobooks, so that's why I have them. I don't really know what it's about again, other than it's a middle grade fantasy series that has been likened to Barry Trotter, and so I think it'll give me those same sort of like cozy magical vibes that I love as well. So yeah, I'm excited to read this. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but those are 2 audiobooks that I have. Okay, so now moving on to the books in my physical collection. I want to talk about my 2 sub-box books that I have first. So we have Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. This came in my February Afterlight box, and it is a sapphic romance about Delilah who goes back to her hometown and like meets Claire, who I think's her sister's friend or something. It's like a hometown romance. I haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to read this one. It is the Afterlight special edition, which pretty much just comes with an exclusive cover, these orange sprayed edges, and it is signed by the author as well. And then my other sub-box book is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I've heard great things about this. I think I'm going to be really into it, and when I saw the Illumicrate edition I had to get it. So this is an exclusive cover with beautiful sprayed edges. I mean, look at this, it's gorgeous. I kind of wish that the design was carried on the top and the bottom. It does have like this kind of ombre effect, but yeah, I love the sprayed edges so much. It's just beautiful, and the cover as well is really nice. This design under the dust jacket, and then these are the end papers. It's just so lovely, and then it is signed by the author as well. I'm really excited to read this. All I know about this is it was published independently originally, and then she like got signed to a traditional publisher, and I think it's been like slightly changed, like plot wise, that the writing has been changed and stuff. Basically following 6 people who are kind of like competing to join this thing, but only one of them can win, so it's like they're fighting against each other. I've heard good things about it, but again I think that the story itself will be different because it's like being edited for a traditional publisher. I'm excited to read that one. I know the second one, I think it's coming out pretty soon, so I hope Illumicrate does another edition for it. Okay, so the next book I'm going to talk about was gifted to me. I participated in Spoops' Easter Patreon gift giving thing, a bit like a Secret Santa but a secret Easter bunny. So I received The Girl from the Sea from Jennifer. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for gifting this to me as part of that gift exchange. And it was quite funny because I bought this for Lydia for her birthday, literally like the week before this arrived on my doorstep. So yeah, it was quite a funny coincidence. So this was the, I can't remember which month now, but this is one of the Queer Picture Book Club books that I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to read it because I'm suddenly like really into like mermaid stories series. I don't know why. But yeah, this was the Queer Picture Book Club book pick for one of the months, which was kind of what put it on my radar. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. It is a graphic novel. It's really cute. Like, I really love the illustrations in it. And yeah, thank you, Jennifer, for gifting this to me. So next I'm going to talk you through my pre-orders. I'm going to talk about them in the orders that they were released. So the first one is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas, the second book in the Crescent City series. You guys know, like, I was so excited to read this book after reading the first one in January, and I absolutely loved the first one. This one not so much, but again, my enjoyment of it could have been tampered by the fact that I had COVID while I was reading this, which was not fun, but at least I had the time off to like sit and read it before I had to go back to work. But yeah, it was like, I did give it 5 stars. It just, I don't know, I feel like I overhyped it in my head, so I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It was still great. It's obviously like 800 and something pages, absolutely massive. But yeah, it's the second book in the Crescent City series, highly anticipated despite the fact that I hadn't even read the first one until January. It came out in February, and yeah, I don't really want to talk about what it's about because it's the second in a series. But basically in the first one, we're following Bryce and Hunt, who are like put on a case to solve a murder mystery together because Bryce has a personal connection to it, and also obviously it's a fantasy romance because it's Sarah J Maas. So yeah, I do really recommend this series. It's just this book was not my favourite. So next is Rainbow Grey Eye the Storm by Lauren who is Lauren? Laura Ellen Anderson. So this is the second book in the Rainbow Grey series, which is a middle grade series about Ray Gray. It's got slightly like younger middle grade, but I really liked the first one. Like, it was just a fun book. So yeah, and also this is the Waterstones exclusive edition with the Nim sprayed edges. So yeah, it's so cute. This series rather was put on my radar because Gav from How to Train Your Dragon features as a character in this. So yeah, this is obviously the second book in the series, and basically following Ray, who like is a weatherling but she doesn't have any weather magic, and it's the story of how she gets her weather magic. So I am excited to read this one. I've sort of been putting it off for a while, but I will get to it eventually. It's just like a fun kids book. It's cute. And then my last pre-order so far is the Genesis Wars by Akemi Dawn Bowman. So this is the second book in a lot of second books recently. Second book in the Infinity Court series. I've absolutely loved the first one. This is just a normal standard edition, and I actually think I got this like a week before it came out somehow, which was weird. I don't understand why it shipped so early to me, but whatever. This is the second book in that series. We're following Nami, who in the first book she dies, she goes to infinity, which is kind of like the afterlife, and it's been taken over by Ophelia, who is basically Siri but evil, and Ophelia has like enslaved all the people, and Nami and a group of other people are like trying to rescue them all. So yeah, so this is the second book in that series. I'm really excited to read it because I loved the first one so much, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So next I think I'm going to talk you through some of the books that I've bought, and I'm going to start with all the like graphic novel comic-y type things. So let's start with Heartstopper volumes 1 to 4 by Alice Oseman. Basically got this because I was doing it as part of a read along, and I loved it, and yeah, I can't wait for the next one to come out. I loved the show, it was beautiful. There's the back, there's the front. So yeah, I read these basically over a weekend and absolutely bloody love them. It's just so cute. This is basically just following the story of Nick and Charlie, who are just normal secondary school kids. They meet each other, they fall in love, and the rest is history. It's literally there on the back. Boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. And it's so cute. I loved it so much. I just want everything Alice Oseman now after reading these. They were just lovely, and they're just so aesthetically pleasing to look at, like with the spines and everything, and like the covers, they're just so damn cute. Like, I just love them so much. So yeah, that's Heartstopper. So next I'm going to talk about Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Bought this for myself very recently. I read the first volume back in, was it March? I think it was in March. And I want to continue on, so I figured the best thing to do will be to actually buy the next volume. This is a sci-fi comic series, very adult, very graphic, very violent, following these two warring species who have a baby together, and like they're being hunted down. It's really dramatic. I've obviously only read the first one so far, but I'm very excited to see where it continues on. And what happens every time I flick through this, I just see something else that's like really dramatic. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. So next I want to talk about a manga that I bought myself, which is My Love Story by Kazuni Kawahara. This is like a contemporary romance manga, and I've seen the anime a few years ago and I loved it so much, and like I think about it every so often and I'm just like, I just loved the story, that I just want to experience it again. So I'm going to start reading the manga for it. So this is obviously just volume 1, and basically we're following Takeo, who's this guy. His best friend's Tsunakawa, and then Yamato. So Takeo is just like your average guy, but essentially he's just ugly, and his best friend is really, really attractive, and he just accepts that his best friend always gets the girl. And then he saves Yamato from a sexual assault on the train, and she like loves him so much for it. And so it's like their story of becoming friends and like relationship, and it's just so cute. It's literally what it says on the tin, My Love Story, and it's just so adorable. Like everything I just loved everything in the anime, and I really wish that it had a series too, but it didn't. So yeah, I really want to read the manga. I'm pretty sure the manga is going to be longer than the anime was, so yeah, I can't wait to read this. Okay, and finally for my graphic novels, my most recent acquisitions are Orange Volumes 1 and Volumes 2 by Ishigo Takano. I can't really remember what these are supposed to be about, but I know Becca from Becca and the Books has read these and she loves them. So I just saw them in Waterstones and thought, you know what, I'm going to pick those up because I've heard good things about them. So I think these are the only 2 volumes that there are in this. They are quite chunky, so yeah. But basically this is like a sci-fi romance. The main character, Naho, gets a letter from her future self, basically saying if she doesn't change like her life or something, somebody will die. So yeah, I think it's like the story of that. I feel like it's gonna be really sad, but also really sweet. So I'm really, really excited to read these and experience this story. So yeah, that's Orange. And so the next few books I'll be talking about are all novels that I've bought for myself. I feel like this is going to be in a bit of a random order. I'm going to start with the longest series that I've got. So we've got the entire Mortal Instruments series here, books 1 to 6. They're these weird shiny editions, so they're really slippery. Like they're not mattes, they're really shiny, so they slip and slide everywhere. So that's those 6 books. And then I've also got the 3 books in the Infernal Devices series as well. As you guys know, I've been reading all of the Shadowhunters books as part of By the Angel Along, so yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. I thought I'd get myself the box set, the first 2 series, because you could get all of them together for a really good price, so that's why I got all of these. But they are these weird shiny editions and I hate it. Yeah, so I've got all, well, there's 6 there, so that's 9 of those, plus the Shadowhunters Codex as well, which is kind of like a behind the scenes book, like about the world, not how it was written. I don't know. Yeah, I'm planning to read this as well, but I guess it's like about the different creatures and like runes and stuff that are in the story itself. I feel like I've talked about this series so much on my channel, so I'm just not going to bother explaining what these books are all about, but I am enjoying them. So I definitely think you'll see more of the books that are part of the Shadowhunters world appear on my channel later in the year when we get to those books. Next I have a translated literary fiction, and it is the Travelling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa. I feel like I have so many of these Japanese translated books that are about cats now on my TBR, and I haven't read any of them yet, so I really should start doing that. But I'm kind of like wanting to do it all as one big reading vlog where I read all of these cat Japanese translated fiction books. I'm not sure exactly what this one is about. Again, I have so many of them, like I can't remember what each of them is about, but I've heard that this one is really sad. But basically it just says here, it's not the journey that counts but who is at your side. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really nice sort of story about a cat. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just like, if I see a cat book I will buy it at this point, so there's that one. Next I have Winterkeep by Kristen Kershaw. This is a young adult fantasy, I think. It's part of the Graceling series. I haven't read any of the books in that series yet, but the works sell them all for really, really cheap, so that's why I bought it, because it's part of that series. Yeah, it is a series that I really want to get into. I'm just sort of waiting at this point because I don't really know what it's about. But I think it was originally a trilogy and now she's written another book that might be the part of like a new series that like continues on in that world. That's Winterkeep, which is part of the Graceling series, which I don't know what it's about. I feel like this is a theme where I buy books but I don't know what they're about. But I do cover buy a lot, but I don't like going into a book knowing too much about it before I read it because then it won't shock me, like it won't surprise me. The next two books are part of the same series, and that is The Vampire Lestat and The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice, which are books 2 and books 3 in the Vampire Chronicles. I was reading this series as a part of Vampalong, and I have since decided to DNF because I just don't like this series very much. So I don't know if I'm going to unhaul these at some point, but I'm also a bit like I paid full price for this one anyway. This one I managed to get second hand, which is why it's A, got a shiny cover, and B, looks like it's been read to death. Like, look at the colour difference on those pages. So I don't know if I'm going to hang on to these anymore because I just don't like this series very much. But because they are like a classic horror series, I guess, I feel like they deserve a spot on my shelves. So I don't know, I don't know if I'm gonna hang on to these, but I guess we'll see. Speaking of horror, I picked up Horror Store by Grady Hendrix. I've been wanting to read this for ages, and I think that's why I've been putting off reading the other Grady Hendrix book I have, which is My Best Friend's Exorcism. And this is basically the one that's set in IKEA. So I just love this book because it looks like an IKEA catalogue. I only bought it the other day. I brought it home and my mum was like, is that an IKEA catalogue? And it was no, it's a book. So yeah, I'm really interested to read this one. Like, you've got like a map of Orsk, and like it just looks like an IKEA catalogue, and like the way that the pages are set out, and it has like diagrams and stuff. It looks like a catalogue. So it's basically like a haunted house story, I think, but in IKEA. And what I like is the contrast of the front here, which looks really nice and open and friendly, and then on the back it's like trashed and scary and creepy. So yeah, I am really excited to read this one. I think I'm more likely to pick this up soon than I am with My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I've owned for like a year now and I still haven't read it. I really want to try some Grady Hendrix because I think I will like his books. It's funny because when I was talking to the guy in Waterstones about this, and when he saw this one that I picked up, he was really excited and was like telling me like all the other Grady Hendrix books I should try. So yeah, thanks Waterstones guy. I'll try and pick this up very soon. And another horror thrillery one is Gerald's Game by Stephen King. So this is on my May TBR, so I should be reading this very soon. And I've mentioned this before, I'm collecting all of these new editions of Stephen King's books as they are released. So this one is part of the Thrilling Suspense collection. I only have 2 books out of that series so far, and there's 5 in total that have been published. So I really need to like pick them up, but I'm also not in much of a rush because I've noticed like if I try and buy them as soon as they release them, it's really hard to get a hold of them because these covers are essentially replacing the old editions or older editions. So the more I wait, the more that these come into circulation and it's easier to find them. That one's Gerald's Game. This is basically about a husband and wife who like play a kinky game. Jessie doesn't want to play. She kicks her man and he dies and she's trapped there like handcuffed to the bed. So yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. So next I have a fantasy, and that is Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. So this is a mermaid story. I can't remember exactly what it's about, but I was really excited to read it, and I only bought it in January and I still haven't read it, but I was really excited when it came out because it sounds really cool, and I think the second one's coming out relatively soon. Yeah, it's basically just a mermaid story. I don't want to read the blurb out because I haven't done that for any of the other books on here, but it's young adult and it's about mermaids, and again I'm really like wanting to read more mermaid books for some reason. So yeah, also the cover is beautiful. I love it so much. So I am excited to read this, but again, I don't know when I'm going to get to it. And last but not least, we have Nick and Charlie by Ellis Oseman, one of the Heartstopper novellas. I literally just saw it in the shop, so I thought I'll grab it while I can because I don't know when I'll be able to get any of the others because they're basically all going out of print because they've been sold so quickly, so they're going for a reprint. I just want as much Nick and Charlie in my life as I can get, so this is one of the novellas that I really want to read, but I kind of want to read them in the right order because of the way the story is. I'm excited to read this one. So those were a bunch of the books that I've got recently. Yeah, I'm not going to hold up the books because obviously there is quite a lot that I've talked about. Yeah, but let me know in the comments if you've read any of these and what you think I should read first, even though I have already read some of them. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I do try and post a new video every single week. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Goodbye.